The story begins by showing a father named Sean enjoying time with his son at an amusement park. However, in the midst of this happy moment, a criminal named Castor is preparing to kill them both from afar using a sniper rifle. Known for his cruelty, Castor shot both of them with a single shot. 6 years later, it turns out that Sean survived the incident. Since then, he has dedicated his life to revenge. Coincidentally, Sean is a high-ranking FBI official, particularly in the counterterrorism division. On the other hand, Castor Troy has not reformed and is now planning to blow up a convention center. In short, Sean finally gets a lead on Castor's whereabouts after the FBI manages to track down his younger brother, Pollux, who is also a criminal. It turned out, Pollux is the one who designed the bomb. Moreover, Castor loves Pollux very much. Although they have different personalities, they complement each other. When boarding the plane, Castor immediately tries to flirt with the flight attendant. However, he does not realize that the flight attendant is actually an FBI agent. Shortly after, Sean and his team manage to reach the runway. Realizing this, the insane Castor forces the pilot to proceed with the takeoff, regardless of the runway being filled with police cars. Additionally, Pollux manages to incapacitate the female agent and throws her out of the plane to stop the police chase. However, Sean quickly continues the pursuit by boarding a helicopter before the plane takes off. In the end, Sean's efforts pay off as he manages to damage the jet's engine. The frustrated Castor decides to kill the pilot and take over the controls. But eventually, Castor loses control despite being surrounded. Unfortunately, Castor has not given up yet, as he and Pollux continue firing and manage to injure several agents. While Castor is engrossed in fighting, Pollux is suddenly secured by the police. Because of this, Castor is forced to continue his escape alone, but Sean and several other members pursue him from behind. Realizing this, Castor fights back fiercely, until only Sean is left to face him alone. When Castor is cornered, he finally reveals details about his bombing plan. Castor says he will disclose the bomb's location if he and his brother are set free. However, Sean cannot let go of the man who killed his son. Meanwhile, the cunning Castor suddenly attacks again. But Sean manages to retaliate, and eventually, Castor is thrown into a nearby jet engine and dies instantly. Sean finally avenges his son's death. For the past 6 years, Sean and his wife, Eve, have been unable to sleep peacefully because of Castor. So, once the mission is completed, Sean immediately goes home to inform Eve that their revenge is over. The next day, people at the office congratulate Sean on his achievement. However, Sean does not feel happy and reminds them that many lives were lost during the capture, which is nothing to be proud of. But the problem is not yet over, as the FBI discovers a disc containing the design of the bomb Castor planted. The only person who knows the bomb's location is Pollux. Unfortunately, Pollux refuses to talk, but he does not yet realize that Castor died in the incident yesterday, so he insists that he will reveal the bomb's location only if he is reunited with him. Upon learning this, a senior FBI official takes Sean to a secret facility. Once inside, Sean is shocked to find that the government has kept Castor's body alive. Moreover, Sean is introduced to Dr. Mike, a renowned surgeon capable of performing perfect skin grafts. Essentially, Sean is offered to impersonate Castor to find the bomb's location. Additionally, Sean is believed to be the only person who can mimic Castor's personality, which is why the offer is made exclusively to him. The FBI assures that Sean's face and body can be restored to their original form instantly. However, Sean immediately rejects the offer, preferring to find the bomb through logical means, such as interrogating people who were known to have worked with Castor. From his ex-girlfriend Sasha to his criminal associate, Dietrich. Unfortunately, none of these efforts yield results. In the end, Sean agrees to the project, but he asks for time to say goodbye to his child and Eve, as this means he won't be able to see them for the next few days. Worse yet, the project is classified, so Sean's family has no idea what is going to happen. Before the surgery, Sean explains that he has a bullet scar on his chest. To fully become Castor, Sean understands that the scar will also be removed. However, Sean hopes the scar can be restored later because it reminds him of his son. After that, the surgery begins, with Castor's facial skin being placed on Sean's face. Meanwhile, his original face is preserved to be reattached once the mission is completed. The surgery also involves other body parts, including hair, vocal cords, and more. When Sean wakes up from the operation, He is both shocked and hysterical to see himself looking exactly like Castor. Once the situation calms down, Dr. Mike adjusts Sean's voice to match Castor's frequency, creating a perfect disguise. According to the information, the bomb will explode in 6 days, so Sean doesn't have much time to extract information from Pollux. Therefore, Sean is immediately flown to the prison where he is held. The prison is one of the most secure in America, reserved for high-risk inmates. All prisoners there are required to wear special shoes that function like advanced shackles, preventing movement unless permitted by the guards. While queuing for lunch, Sean finally meets Pollux. However, just as he is about to talk to him, a prisoner who has long held a grudge against Castor attacks. At that moment, Pollux becomes suspicious, sensing that his brother is not acting like usual. Worried that his cover might be blown, Sean decides to act as Castor would in such a situation. However, Sean overplays his role, nearly killing the other prisoner. Fortunately, the guards arrive and break up the fight. At the same time, a miracle occurs that night as Castor, who was supposed to be in a coma, suddenly awakens and realizes his face is missing. Without wasting any time, Castor immediately calls his men to come to the location. With the help of his subordinates, Castor also manages to capture Dr. Mike and forces him to perform surgery. Additionally, Castor knows that his face is currently being used by Sean, so he decides to do the same. The next day, Sean finally manages to have a private conversation with Pollux. However, due to the incident yesterday, Pollux still doesn't believe that the person in front of him is Castor. Pollux then asks what medication he has been taking for the past 4 years. Luckily, Sean knows the answer, finally convincing Pollux to reveal the location of the bomb he planted. After successfully obtaining the information he needed, Sean openly reveals his true identity and calls for FBI agents to come and release him. But the person who shows up is Castor with Sean's face. To ensure no one knows about his disguise, Castor killed everyone involved in the secret project the night before, meaning Sean is now forced to live as Castor forever. Castor even plans to destroy Sean's family. That night, when he returns home, Castor also enjoys a moment with Eve. Not only that, Castor also tries to seduce Sean's daughter, Jamie. Meanwhile, Sean starts thinking about how to get his old life back. However, the situation becomes more chaotic when Sean learns that Pollux has been released by the FBI because he agreed to cooperate. This was made possible by Castor. But because of this, Castor is reprimanded by the FBI chief, Victor. It doesn't take long for Castor to win everyone's hearts by pretending to persuade Pollux to reveal the bomb's location. If this plan succeeds, it is likely that he will soon be promoted, allowing him to commit crimes freely without anyone suspecting. Unfortunately, when the bomb is found, the bomb squad fails to deactivate it. They are desperate because the bomb will explode in a few minutes. Castor sees this as a golden opportunity and orders everyone to leave while he deactivates the bomb using the access code he already knows. Because of this, everyone is astonished and considers Castor the new hero of the nation. While Castor receives hundreds of accolades from various quarters, Sean decides not to give up and starts figuring out how to reclaim his life. He begins by planning an escape from prison, noting that inmates have struggled to resist because their shoes are always controlled by the guards. Based on available information, the shoes are only removed when they are about to receive punishment. Knowing this, Sean instigates a fight with the guards so that he is taken to a room and has his brain electroshocked using a special device. During this, the guards remove Sean's shoes. Before the punishment begins, Sean pretends to ask for leniency to be allowed to smoke, until he starts a rebellion with the help of other inmates. One inmate named Buzz, who had just finished his punishment, rises and decides to help Sean escape. They work together to overpower the guards. After successfully defeating the guards, Sean hacks the prison's main computer and deactivates all the inmates' shoes, causing a riot. Unfortunately, in the final moments, Buzz meets a tragic end and dies during the escape attempt, while Sean continues his efforts and manages to get out of the prison area. Once outside the Iron Gate, Sean realizes that the prison is actually in the middle of the ocean. At the same time, a helicopter suddenly appears and tries to execute Sean on the spot. Realizing there is no other way, Sean decides to jump into the ocean. The news about Sean soon reaches Castor, causing him to panic and make various efforts to find him. Meanwhile, Sean manages to swim to the shore, and that night he tries to call Eve to warn her about the situation. However, Sean's words are ignored. He also tries to go home just to get weapons and other things, but his house is heavily guarded by the police. Realizing that none of his acquaintances can be relied upon at the moment, Sean suddenly remembers that with his current face, he should be able to ask for help from Castor's criminal associates. That night, Sean stops by Dietrich's headquarters. As soon as Sean arrives there, he is warmly welcomed by them. They even give Sean weapons. At that moment, Castor's associates are unaware of the face swap, so they happily help Sean. When Sean suggests attacking the FBI office, they agree to join him. However, Sean's drink is spiked with drugs, causing him to become heavily intoxicated. This is the first time his body experiences such a sensation, almost driving him crazy, especially when he sees his reflection in the mirror. At the same time, Castor, who is hiding at home, accidentally sees Jamie nearly being harassed by her boyfriend. For some reason, this makes him furious, and Castor beats the guy up. Not stopping there, Castor even gives Jamie a pocket knife to use to kill her boyfriend if this ever happens again. On the other side, when Sean wakes up from his unconscious state, he finds himself in the arms of Sasha, Castor's former lover. This event is witnessed from a distance by Pollux. Being intelligent, Pollux had already suspected that Sean would seek help from Castor's associates, therefore he immediately informs Castor about it. As Sean is about to leave, Sasha introduces her son, revealing that the boy is the result of her past relationship with Castor. However, Sasha never told Castor that the boy is his son. Sean is shocked to learn that the ruthless Castor has a child. Even more surprising, Castor's son resembles Sean's late son. Meanwhile, a SWAT team has already arrived at Dietrich's headquarters. They are all ambushed, and Castor gives the order to kill everyone inside. Knowing this, Sean immediately tries to save Sasha's son. They attempt to escape, but nearly all exits are heavily guarded by the police. In the end, one by one, everyone in the room is killed in the massacre. Additionally, Sasha's son almost dies from being shot by a SWAT member. On the other hand, Sean doesn't want to kill the FBI agents, so he only incapacitates them whenever he encounters them. In the midst of the escape, Castor suddenly appears and kills his former comrade Dietrich without hesitation. Ultimately, Dietrich dies at Castor's hands, while Sasha manages to escape with her son. Now, it's just Sean against Castor. Another duel ensues between them, with Castor trying to provoke Sean by saying that he has slept with Eve, but Sean strives to remain calm. During the duel, an FBI agent appears and shoots at Sean with a grenade launcher. Fortunately, Sean survives by running to the rooftop. However, Sean accidentally encounters Pollux, who tries to capture him. In the end, Pollux falls to his death from a height. Castor is devastated by the loss of Pollux, and in his rage, he shoots one of the FBI agents who happens to be there. The next day at the office, Castor can't stop daydreaming. He still can't believe that Pollux is dead. Shortly after, Victor shows up and scolds Castor about last night's operation. Enraged, Castor plans to kill him. After learning that Victor has a heart condition, Castor immediately kills him and then pretends to call an ambulance, claiming that Victor died of a heart attack. Meanwhile, Sean manages to sneak into his house. Eve, who has just finished showering, becomes hysterical upon seeing the face of her son's killer. At that moment, Sean tries to convince Eve that he is her husband by recounting all the events. However, Eve remains unconvinced. Being a doctor, Eve knows that her real husband has blood type O, while Castor has blood type AB. The news of this incident quickly reaches Castor, so when he gets home, Castor tries to reassure Eve and ensure she hasn't figured out his disguise. However, Eve starts to realize something is wrong with her husband. That night, while Castor is asleep, Eve secretly takes a blood sample and goes to the hospital to verify Sean's claim, with Sean himself appearing there. At that moment, Eve is still doubtful about what she sees, but it doesn't take long for Sean to convince her by recounting how they first met and got married, something Castor could never know. Eve soon realizes who her real husband is. Meanwhile, Sean doesn't blame Eve for being intimate with Castor because all of this resulted from his own reckless decision. After learning that Victor is dead, Castor will soon be appointed as the head of the FBI. Therefore, tomorrow is his last chance to launch a counterattack, specifically during Victor's funeral. Sean then advises Eve to hide Jamie tomorrow and ensure she doesn't attend the event. However, in the midst of the conversation, Castor suddenly appears at the hospital, prompting Sean to leave immediately. The next day, before going to Victor's funeral, Eve tells Castor that their daughter has run away from home. This makes Castor even more suspicious that something is wrong. During the funeral, a boy is ordered to deliver a message to Castor containing a photo of Sean's son. Because of this, Castor realizes he is being challenged to a duel after the funeral. In short, the fight between them ensues once again. However, the cunning Castor takes Eve hostage. He even manages to capture Jamie and brings her to the location. Fortunately, Sasha suddenly appears and provides assistance to Sean. Despite being outnumbered, at least Sean is not fighting alone. Shortly after, they manage to kill Castor's men, and Eve survives the shootout. Sadly, Sasha falls. Before taking her last breath, Sasha asks Sean to take care of her son. As the fight continues, Jamie suddenly appears, making it difficult for Sean as he has to fight while protecting her. Eventually, Sean gains the upper hand and is about to defeat Castor. Unfortunately, Jamie fires a shot, injuring Sean's arm, thinking she was saving her father from being killed by a villain. Jamie only realizes that Castor is not her father when he tries to kill her. Fortunately, Jamie survives thanks to the knife Castor had given her before. Castor manages to escape, shooting anyone who gets in his way. When several FBI agents arrive, Castor panics and kills them all. He then heads to the docks to escape by boat, but Sean follows him. During their fight, the Coast Guard appears and starts shooting at both of them. Castor retaliates, causing a bigger disaster as their boats collide. Due to the collision, Sean's boat is severely damaged and leaking fuel, forcing him to jump onto Castor's boat. Their battle resumes, more intense than ever as they fight on the high-speed boat. They are so engrossed that they don't realize the boat is about to crash into the dock. The collision throws them both off. Fortunately, they survive, but Castor is still determined. He gets up and tries to kill Sean with a piece of the boat. At the last moment, Sean turns the tables using a harpoon gun. But Castor is not done yet. Before dying, he tries to destroy his face so Sean would have to live with Castor's face. Soon after, the FBI arrives at the scene, and to Sean's surprise, they all call him by his real name. Unbeknownst to him, Eve had called the office earlier and explained everything. As a renowned doctor, Eve also contacted a surgeon friend to help restore Sean's face. A few days later, Sean returns home after a successful operation, having regained his original face. Additionally, he comes home with Sasha's son. As promised, Sean will take care of him until he grows up. And with that, the story ends. Moral lesson from the story: never trust a flight attendant who smiles too much. They might just be an undercover agent. And if your enemy tries to swap faces with you, make sure your spouse knows your blood type.